I work for the County Transportation Department. It's not a heroic job. It doesn't involve flashing lights or sirens. Most days I drive around with a clipboard and a camera, checking potholes, fallen signs, and cracked guardrails. I make reports. Someone else fixes things. That's how it usually goes. The job is meant for daylight, which is why the call I got at 2:17 in the morning still feels wrong. My phone rang instead of vibrating. That alone was strange. Dispatch only calls when something unusual happens. I answered while still half asleep. "Unit 12, a woman said. Her voice was flat and tired. "We're getting movement alerts on Route 611. Go verify." That sentence didn't make sense. "Route 611 is closed," I said. "It's been closed for 3 years." "I know. That's why we need you to check." I sat up in bed. What sensor is sending movement alerts? There aren't any out there. There was a pause. I could hear faint static behind her breathing. "Just confirm," she said again. She hung up before I could ask anything else. Route 611 used to connect 2 small farming towns. Years ago, a flash flood destroyed part of the road and took the bridge with it. After that, the county blocked it off with concrete barriers and a steel gate. No one rebuilt it. There was no point. Traffic rerouted to the highway. Nobody used it anymore. Nobody was supposed to. I got dressed, grabbed my jacket and camera, and drove out into the cold night. The highway lights disappeared behind me after 15 minutes. The road narrowed. Trees crowded in. Fog floated low across the pavement, catching in my headlights like smoke. When I reached the gate, I slowed to a stop. The barrier was open. The chains hung loose, swaying gently in the wind. One of the concrete blocks had been dragged aside. Fresh tire tracks cut through the dirt and into the darkness beyond. I radioed dispatch. "Gates open, tire tracks present." Only static answered. I tried again. "Dispatch, do you copy?" Nothing. The forest was silent. No insects, no wind, just the low rumble of my engine and the distant drip of water. I drove forward. The moment I passed the barrier, the air changed. It smelled wrong, like rust and wet leaves and something rotten underneath. Fog thickened around my headlights, clinging to the road like it didn't want to let go. The trees leaned closer together, forming a tunnel of black shapes. That's when I saw the reflectors. At first, I thought they were roadside markers. Then they blinked. 2 pale points of light far ahead, hovering just above the fog line. Eyes. They disappeared when I hit the brakes. My heart started pounding. I told myself it was probably a deer or raccoons, something normal that just looked wrong in the dark. I kept driving. About half a mile in, I found a car stopped in the middle of the road. No hazard lights, no engine noise, just sitting there at a crooked angle. The driver's door was open. I parked behind it and stepped out. The fog curled around my boots. The forest felt too close, like the trees were leaning in to listen. Inside the car, the engine was cold. On the dashboard sat a phone. The screen was still on. A map app was open. A blue dot marked the car's position, exactly where I was standing. The battery icon blinked red. There was a message draft open. It said, "There are people walking in the road. They don't have faces." I stepped back. The car radio crackled. Static hissed. Then a whisper came through the speakers. "Still using the road." I jumped hard enough to bang my elbow on the door. The radio went silent. I backed toward my truck. That's when I saw them between the trees. Tall shapes standing just beyond the fog. They didn't walk forward. They leaned, like mannequins tipping toward me. Their heads were smooth. No eyes, no mouths, no noses. Just pale, stretched skin where a face should be. I ran to my truck and slammed the door shut. The engine roared to life. When I turned around, the gate was gone. Where the entrance had been was now solid forest. No opening, no barrier, No road back. I sat there gripping the steering wheel, trying to breathe. The road ahead was the only path left, so I drove. The headlights barely pierced the fog. The trees stayed close on both sides, like the forest was moving with me instead of past me. Something crossed the road ahead. Not walking, gliding. A line of figures slid across the asphalt, arms hanging stiff at their sides. One of them stopped in the middle of the lane. My headlights passed straight through it. Inside its shape, I saw faces, human faces, dozens of them, pressed together, twisted in silent screams. I floored the gas. The speedometer climbed, but the trees beside me didn't blur. They stayed beside me, like the road was looping in place. Then I saw a sign ahead, Route 611, open. Under it, in smaller letters, local traffic only. My radio crackled again. Vehicle detected. The voice was different now, flat, mechanical. We maintain the road. A figure stepped onto the asphalt. It wore a reflective vest, a county vest. It raised one hand to stop me. Its face was wrong. The skin was pulled too tight over bone, like someone stretched it over something that wasn't shaped like a skull. "You're not cleared," it said. I screamed and drove straight through it. The truck jolted violently. Something scraped across the roof. I heard tapping on the windshield. Fingers from the inside. Hands pressed outward from beneath the glass, as if something trapped in the truck was trying to get out. The road suddenly ended. Not sloped, not broken. It just dropped. The asphalt stopped at a black pit. No bottom. Inside it, I saw headlights. Cars driving downward, endlessly. People still inside them. Some banging on windows, some staring forward without moving, some already empty. Behind me, the faceless figures gathered, dozens of them. The vest creature stood at the front. "We keep the road open," it said. "People still need to go somewhere." One reached for my door handle. I turned the wheel and drove off the road into the forest. Branches shattered the windows. Something screamed behind me. Not angry, hungry. The truck slammed into a tree. Everything went black. I woke up to sunlight. My head was pressed against the steering wheel. My truck sat in a ditch beside the normal highway. Route 611 was sealed again. Chains tight, concrete barriers back in place. No tire tracks, no fog, no forest tunnel. Just a closed road and morning birds. My radio worked. Dispatch asked why I never reported in. I told them everything. They said Route 611 doesn't have sensors. Never did. No movement alerts, no calls, no missing cars, no abandoned vehicle, no phone, no message. They checked records. Nothing. Just one thing remained. My dash cam. They reviewed the footage. They didn't show me most of it, but I saw one frame, the moment before I crashed. Behind my truck, the road was full. Cars, hundreds of them, driving in silence and walking between them, with things wearing reflective vests, guiding traffic, making sure no one turned back. Now, every night at exactly 2:17 a.m., my phone vibrates. No notification, just vibration. When I unlock it, a map opens. A blue dot, stopped on Route 611, and a message draft appears. The road is still open. I don't drive at night anymore, but sometimes I hear engines in the distance, coming from a road that doesn't exist.